I have 3 face palettes here with me that recently came out. In this video, I'm going to try them on, do a quick review, and give you my thoughts on whether you should pick these up at the Sephora sale. This will, of course, depend on your preference of formula and how you like to apply and the depth of your skin tone. For me, I picked up the ones that, in my opinion, would show up the best on a medium skin tone. Let's try these on and find out which ones you should pick at the Sephora sale, if any. First up, we have the Too Faced Jewel Crush Blush and Highlighter Face Palette. This has 3 blushes and 1 highlighter. I'm going to start with Velvet Crush, which looks like a nudie pink kind of blush. These blushes are quite pigmented, so they can be a little splotchy on the cheek, as you can see, but the color variety is quite nice. This is the watermelon shade. It's called Watermelon Rain. Use a fluffy brush and a gentle hand. It will get too pigmented too quickly. This one is called Golden Hour. This is a light pink with golden sparkle in it. The sparkle isn't too visible, so it's actually a nice sheen. This shade actually went on really smoothly. On to the highlighter called Shooting Star. This is quite a nice formula. It goes on really shiny, but you can sheer it out and it leaves a nice glow. The highlighter is my favorite part of the palette. The blushes retail for $43 each and the highlighter for $52. You can get 3 blushes and a highlighter for 53 Canadian dollars in this palette, which I think is a good value. Moving on to Nars Pure Luxury Light Reflecting Cheek and Eye Palette 2. There are 2 color options in these palettes and the light one barely had any pigment whatsoever, so I got the deeper one. Little did I know, this one also lacks in pigment, especially the blushes. As you can see, I have to go back and forth, dipping my brush in multiple times to build up the pigment. And this coral shade was actually the better one out of the 3. It's actually a lot of work to get them to show up, and it's not what I'm used to for my face palettes. I was actually looking forward to this orange blush. This one took the most building up. I was expecting it to be like the NARS Taj Mahal blush, but this was a huge disappointment. I actually had to go in with my Sephora Pro brush, which I use for cream blushes, and that helped build it up, but just a bit. Maybe it will show up on a skin tone that's much lighter than mine. The last shade is a really lovely magenta color, but does it show up? Let's see. I'd say this is just a hint better than the orange shade that I tried before this one, but still not pigmented enough. I don't know what happened to the NARS palette this year because I've purchased these in previous years and I don't recall having a problem with them before. This is the highlighter. This is a rose gold shade, but this is also very subtle. If you want that barely there kind of glow, this could work. Moving on to the Hourglass Evil Eye palette. First, I'm going to try on the finishing powder called Soft Light. This has a luminous finish, it's not matte, and has a slight glow. This blush is called Pink Fusion. I would say this is a cool tone pink. It has a hint of magenta in there. Hourglass blushes are usually easy to apply and easy to build, and this one was no exception. Next, I'm trying on the blush called Vibrant Coral. The pigment level is not too much, not too little, and it builds quite easily, and the application is quite seamless. This palette comes with a hefty price tag, but to me, the products in this palette were the easiest to apply out of all 3 palettes. This blush shade, however, I don't think it was made for my skin tone. No matter what I did to build it up, it just would not show up. This was not for me. This is the Rose Gold Strobe Light, which is a highlighter. I actually really like this one. Easy to apply, natural finish, and a nice color. Last, we have the bronzer. This is actually a cool toned bronzer, and it's good for contouring, I believe, as well. It was not too pigmented, so it was easy to control, and it went on quite seamlessly, so I have no complaints from this one. So, in conclusion, I would say the Too Faced palette is good for those who want to either try the formula of their new Cloud Crush blushes and also the highlighter, or maybe you already have these and you like the formula and you want to add some shades to your collection. I think this is a nice, easy to use format. And the color selection is quite nice. One is a more neutral kind of shade, one is a light pink, which has been quite popular, and this one is a nice watermelon shade, which could also show up on a deeper skin tone than just light ones. I would say this is best for light medium to medium tan skin tones because it's too pigmented for lighter skin tones and not enough shades for a deeper skin tone. About the formula, I would say the blushes are just a little bit more pigmented than I prefer my blushes to be. So I would go in with a more fluffy brush and also powder your base before you apply the blushes because it really will stick to one place if the base is not set. The highlighter, I think, is a great formula. I have no qualms about its quality. Overall, I think this is a good addition if you want some blushes and a highlighter at a good price point. Next up is the Nars palette. I actually went in store to try both of these. This is the deeper one. The lighter one actually had little to no payoff. And I've seen videos where content creators with lighter skin tones can't get the first palette to show up on their skin. So I think if you want to buy one, this would be the right choice. However, I don't think this will work for medium or tan skin tones if you are not into building up the color multiple times like I did in this video. I think this should be good for lighter to light medium skin tones. Then comes the Hourglass Evil Eye palette. I think this is good for medium skin tones, but I would also say that this blush here does not show up on my skin. The rest of the shades do work fine, and I think the quality is there, but you are also paying quite a bit more than the other two options. That is all for today. I hope I was able to give you some insight into how these formulas work and whether the formulas and the colors would work for your skin tone and whether or not they would fit into your budget given the upcoming Sephora sale. That is it, and I will see you next time.